All right, everyone, it's, Thursday, 25th of May. I've got Starzy here, Starzilla, but it took her a while to get here. She was a bit late, because seriously, there's like a mad fire literally across the street from us. That's me drinking a beer in the pub before it got evacuated. So there's every chance we might get evacuated here, but you made it here. You had to get out of the cab and walk.
Yes, it was an interesting time. I'm like, what are the chances? The one day that I was like, this podcast is going to happen. It's happening. Shit's happening.
Well, it just adds to it.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in there in the car because when you message me and you're like, oh, we can reschedule if it's too chaotic. I'm like, I got dinner. I got to do this. And I'm like, easier to go turn around and just go home.
It's a good day.
And here we are.
It's living. Senses are on. Like you can smell the building in here right now.
Oh, so. We were in the Uber and I was like, oh yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, crazy city life. So, originally, you're from Italy, correct?
Yes. So I'm from a little town up north in Treviso.
Yep.
It's near Venice, but I grew up. Well, actually, it's a bit of an interesting one because I'm from Italy, but when I was 6, I moved to America. So, we were there for about 2 to 3 years.
That's where you learnt English?
Yes. So I went from Italian to English. Then
No, American.
American, that's true, difference. And then I went back to Italy.
Yep.
Until I was 11. And I learned Italian and forgot English.
Wow.
Yes, and then I moved to Australia, didn't know English, and then knew Italian and had to relearn English. Yeah.
Where in Australia did you move to?
We moved to the Gold Coast pretty much straight away.
You would have gone to the Italian club out the back of Broadbeach?
Actually, I've never been there. Every time I drew past it was like a flag, and the flag just gave me an instant reminder of... But we went from little small town in Italy, to... cold all the time, and we came here and it was sunny. We were living on the beach. Like, mum happened to get a cleaning job, so and like we had people help us out during the move. And we got here and it was just like, this is a whole different like the sun just was so hot as well that it made me have like 3-degree burns.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a fun time when I nearly drowned. Because it was like in Italy the sands and the waters are like so calm. Yeah. And then you come here and it's like chaotic, and I remember mum screaming and I'm like, oh my God.
Lifeguards?
Lifeguards, I didn't even think they came and helped. I somehow had to get my way out of it, and I was like, so Australia, but I've been here ever since. Yeah,
mate. So how old were you again when you got here?
11.
11. So what is that? End of primary school or start of high school?
It was just grade 7.
Yeah, okay, so start of high school.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing as well. I've realised my English is so bad at times, but I was like, why? It's not? Okay, I maybe might be in my own head.
Yeah.
But I was playing with memory cards when I first came here. So while everyone's learning grammar and stuff in high school, and what is it called? Primary school.
Yep.
I'm sitting there in a class with another kid from another country, and we're just playing memory cards to remember English.
Wow.
And
is that ESL, English Second Language, or something like that? In my era,
is that what it?
That's what it used to be. You used to have an English teacher for kids that it wasn't their first language at home.
That's probably it. I don't remember what it was, but that's probably what it was.
Yeah, great. Was art on your horizon then? Were you doing any sort of art?
I guess it was always the constant drawing and like just being a kid, just drawing, not ever thinking anything of it, just being free and drawing. But the interest towards drawing and tattooing was always, I guess, from a very young age. Even in Italy, where there's not many people with tattoos, especially at the time.
Especially up north.
Yeah, it was very rare.
Village,
Like, there was like maybe about 2 people that I knew that had tattoos.
Yeah, and when you saw them on the street or wherever, were you just like captivated?
They were actually mum's friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so one of them owned a pizza place and he was fully tattooed, and always remember the white shirt.
Like old style?
Yeah, I think it was very trad style.
Yeah.
Like, it was colourful, and I just remember him, like, slick back hair, very stylish, you know, like, white shirt with a little cross on it.
You're building an image in my mind already.
Yeah, you can see it. Like, imagine, like, oiled up, greasy hair type vibe.
Maybe, if it wasn't a single, he'd definitely have cigarettes under the...
Probably something. And the other one... He had, like, full stretches, and he had a little piercing in here. And he was covered head to toe. So that was the only two people you probably ever see in Italy.
Because I think historically, Italy didn't really kick off large-scale tattooing until, I think, 1985. They had their first ever sort of meeting. And, like, I was in London in 1995, and we'll get so many Italians coming over. And it'd be, I want to tattoo, piccolo. And then it'd be, is it fumare or fumare? One's pain, one's smoking.
You're talking to, like, a fake
True. Anyway, it'd be like...
Everyone thinks they're like, can you talk Italian? And I'm like...
used to.
Used to. There's a little bit of stuff between that I haven't learned Italian again.
All right, I won't go down that road again. But Italians would come over to London and get a lot of tattoos because there weren't many options in Italy in the mid-90s. And then I think the conventions, and then same as like Eastern Europe, like it wasn't big for a long time. And then I think 90s, 2000s onwards, it exploded, and now it's as good as anywhere.
That's it. So, you've just taught me a lesson because...
It's pretty cool history, I think there was a convention, I think, Chippy, I can't remember his last name, was one of the old school guys. He put it on. He had Horiyoshi come over, Hanky Panky, Ed Hardy. I think in Rome in 1985 was a pretty...
Was that your first convention?
Not me, no. Mine was...
Like, did you attend it?
I didn't, no, not at all. But it's famous from my generation in all the magazines and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And that's what they reckon exploded it in Italy. So...
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about Italia. When you got to the Goldie and you're 11, were you starting to see tattoos then? Because I imagine that's peak like bikie era, and there's loads of dudes covered on the Goldie anyway. One of my friends just went up there recently, and she goes, "Fucking hell, there's so many people covered up here."
See, there is now, but as a kid, like I guess maybe at the time I wasn't really focusing on that. Like there wasn't anyone sort of that... I seen or I could remember until I started getting into the tattooing scene,
But what was that moment that you started thinking these things are cool? Was it magazines, TV shows, like people you knew?
I guess if you talk about TV shows, it was the standard LA Ink. It was like Miami Ink, LA Ink. Like Mum always bought me the DVDs or whenever I could get it, or when I learned what Foxtel was and it was on there. Yeah. But the interest actually happened when I was a kid. Mum always used to say I never played with dolls. I would occasionally, but not as much as I would get a magazine, start drawing piercings, start drawing tattoos, and on people. And I guess the inspiration from there would have either been the two people that I seen. Because there wasn't much of an inspiration towards tattooing in Italy again. If we're going to go back to that, it was just always art, or even my granddad, he used to restore a lot of old old buildings with a lot of old paintings. So my dad was a painter. Mum liked to draw here and there.
So creativity is...
It's there.
Yeah.
And even my grandmother, fashion designer, so there was always a lot of creatives around me if I think back to it now.
Awesome.
But when I came here, I guess there was the occasional bikie that you would see with the tattoos or the tribal, but apart from that, and then my teacher, he had tattoos and he'd always wear long sleeves until I think one day I expressed to him tattoos, and then he's like, "Oh, I actually have some," and I was like, "Wow!" And they were realism.
Wow.
That was the first realism that I seen. So I would have been 14, 15.
Cool.
Yeah, but a lot of the other one was trad and. But to be honest, at the time I wasn't focusing on it. Weirdly enough.
At that age, did you have any thought of what career you wanted to do, even though tattooing wasn't on the horizon?
I went for my first apprenticeship when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember Bob's. I went into Bob's.
In Surfers?
No, it was the one in Broadbeach.
Yep.
So by the water, where you'd have... And I remember always seeing it, and I was like...
Yeah.
One day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start drawing. Started drawing some things. They were horrible.
Of course.
It was just like 15-year-old me was like, this will do a cool tattoo.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it. I went in. I was petrified. There was, like, I think, one of his artists that I don't like. He was drawing at the front.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I was like, hey, is your boss here? I just want to show it was like a big black portfolio. And I think it was like A3s with like...
Please tell me you were in your school uniform.
No, I don't think I was. Oh my God, imagine if I was. Maybe I was.
Even better.
Yeah. And Bob comes out, this tall, bald-headed dude, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Here we go.
Here we go. And I put my stuff up, put it up on the counter. He's flicking, and there's that silence, you know, where you just...
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Say something.
And he's just looking at it, and he's not saying anything. Yeah. And he's like... What is this shit? I was just like, he's like, look, go home, learn how to draw.
Yep.
And I was like, fine. Going home, and I was like, Mum, never want to do tattooing again, like this, that.
Yeah.
Completely gave up drawing.
Wow.
Like it was just, so I went the opposite.
Yep.
You know, it was, again, and then I got distracted, and I think I started drawing again when I was like 16.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, and then we went from there, and at 17, I was like, that's it. I want to be a tattoo artist.
In that time, how were you trying to get better? Were you getting any external help, or watching YouTube, or going to an art class, or just...
To be honest,
trying to learn?
The only thing I ever did at, was art class at school.
Yep.
Or just the random sketching in your book, or...
Yeah.
I guess because there was a lot of things that happened within my life, and that's like... It stopped me from doing what I actually found was me, right?
Yep.
So it made me focus on other things that were so unnecessary at the time. Mm-hmm. But I guess now they've built who I am.
Yep.
But I gave up drawing so much that... It was just like, it was nicer to go out and have fun, party with your friends, and just do the random sketches, or either having graffiti writers that we knew and seeing them do things, or there was always that spark, but I never really dove into it. And then 17 came around, and I think I was like, okay, we're nearly going to be done with school. Like, what am I going to do?
Yep.
And I was like, I sort of know what I want to do already, and I was like, I want to be a tattoo artist. And I remember even in graduation, they're like, give you a form, and they're like, so what do you want to do when you're older? And I was like, you put it down. I was like, I want to be a tattoo artist.
Amazing.
And they get everyone on stage, and everyone's like, hey, this is like blah, blah, blah. When she leaves, she wants to... People are like, I want to save the world. I want to become a politician. I want to do this. And then I rock up, and it's like, and Starzy just wants to be a tattoo artist. And I'm just like...
You're saving the world one tattoo at a time.
That's it. It's my job. It's my duty.
Yeah.
But, so, and then my parents were there. Mum's always been really supportive of it. My grandmother never really was,
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah, it was always like, you got to go to uni.
Yep.
You got to do this, and it's like, I am so dumb. Not in my own ways, literally, like, not in that sense. Like, you put me in uni, and I can't learn. Like, it's just, I have a different way of learning. It's not that I'm dumb. It's just
no. But that's some of the stuff, the internal dialogue we have with ourselves when we're younger.
Oh yeah.
And then you get it, and you found your way. Yeah.
And.
So from then, after school, you know what you want to do. How did the first door open, or what was the next door that opened or closed until one said, come on in?
Well, it was actually, that's funny.
Did you go back and see Bob? Sorry to cut you off.
Well, it depends how long you want me to talk about myself. Cause
that's why you're here.
Yeah, that's true. It's first time. I guess it's like I haven't really talked about my whole story from like start to finish with someone. So I feel like it's actually nice to get it out there and be like, I did some shit.
Important.
Like, but what was it? What was the question? Okay, so let me reframe. I gotta go back.
You finished school, And then what was the first, who did you then approach first? Did doors open, close until someone said, come on in?
Okay, so, all right, as soon as you... The funny thing was, I was at the beach and I was like, I have a fake ID. I was like, I'm going to go get a tattoo. I was like, I don't even go out. I think I only just used to buy alcohol with it and just, and I was like, I was 17.
Yep.
Didn't realise the damage that could have caused that poor tattoo artist.
Well, he believed it was real. So he was, in the eyes of the law, he was fine.
Yeah, but at the time it was so different anyways, you know, and there was, and I went in and I was like, okay, I want that little Sailor Jerry tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember always seeing Sailor Jerry. I think that was mostly maybe the first person that I seen, you know, and I remember I was like, all right, I want it. I got it done. And then I ended up actually...
Which studio and what was the design?
It was a little anchor, you know, the little...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the little...
Yeah, cool.
Little bad one.
I've done that a few times.
So traditional, but...
Yeah.
Who did it? I don't remember who did it. He was just an older guy.
Yep.
And it was one of Jaff's shops.
Yep.
The one on Broad Beach near the McDonald's.
Oh,
Do you remember that
I
one?
think it was Immortal Ink or something like that. I think it's closed now.
Yeah, I think it changed. Immortal Ink was the one afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember that one. I was trying to think today of the other names, but that one I don't think of. And I actually ended up meeting one of my first boyfriends there.
Yeah.
And that's when we got together and he's like started to go, oh, you want to be a tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Like, we'll get you into one of the shops. I'll introduce you to Jaff. And from then on, I met Jaff and I worked at, what was it? Exit 79.
Yeah, Mudgery Bar.
Yeah, the Mudgery Bar one. But every now and then, but mostly I worked at 8th Ave. The one on 8th Ave in Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah. Been there forever.
Yeah, that was like the old one where Jimbo was there. So got introduced to like Jimbo and started working underneath with them. And I was so young. Yeah. I was like 17. And
was it... For me, I was young in shops as well, and for me, it was like the most magical place ever. Yeah,
it was it was fun to be there.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, you weren't going to McDonald's, you weren't working a job, you didn't know what you were doing. You were surrounded by older guys with such a different mentality on the world, and you're away from your 17-year-old friends doing their thing, and
you're growing up fast.
Being in shop and having to go buy alcohol under 17 or constantly just being there for everyone and being like, okay, like they're relying on me to have the clean shop, they're relying on me to
responsibility, like proper responsibility.
And like I guess a bit of shit happened, like, but always Jaff and Jimbo were actually very accommodating to me. Like, I can't ever be like, it was tough or it was this. They always had this sense of belief in me. So it was, you know, even Mum loved Jimbo. Like, it was good. And then I think I just turned around one day and I was like, I'm too young for this. Like,
You weren't tattooing then?
I did do a couple, I did. I did a tattoo between that time. And I was just drawing and all that stuff. But I did like, do you remember the little Sailor Jerry skunk tattoo? I did that with like a coil. Like, it was probably the first time I've ever used a coil. Like,
awesome.
And just did it, and everyone was like, oh, that's really good. But in my mind, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. But I look back at it and I was like, at least I did it, you know. And then I gave up for a couple of years, I think. It was
interesting.
It was maybe like 2 years, and I think I had to spend some time and develop who I was.
Go learn, do some other jobs or whatever.
Yeah. Oh God.
Did you continue to get tattooed in that time?
No, I didn't get tattooed, but actually between that time before my next apprenticeship, I Benji Tobin.
Yes, good
Love
friend
him.
of mine.
Love him to death. He was doing a free, at the time was like a lot of the free tattoos. Like, I think that's when it sort of first started. I don't know, like that's when I first started noticing it, was everyone was doing free tattoos to build
portfolio.
like all that sort of stuff. And Benji was like, all right, any account that reshares this, so I fully made a fake account. And I just started like smashing it. And I was just like post after post after post. And then I think 2 other people started doing it. And he messaged me and he's like, look, that's sort of not the way the competition was going to go, but like you're the first one that sort of started the trend, I guess, in a way. And he's like, you get your free like your tattoo. So that was my second tattoo that he did. It was and it's still solid. It looks like it was done yesterday.
Yeah, rock solid. That's his tattoo.
And then he did another one actually for me later on.
Yeah.
But
were you were painting then, doing like flash and stuff?
At the time, I was... So, between that time when I was staying at home, that's when I was one of those kids on Centrelink.
Yep.
Just spending in the garage, drawing. Every day was just drawing and trying to make something. I think that's when I first came up with Starzy Tattoos.
Yep. Nice.
I've had that Instagram and that name ever since then.
Amazing.
So, it was really going, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
And like for me, it's really cool and interesting to hear you say that you realised, you know, you kind of weren't ready and you needed to go and do something else and then come back in and out of it.
Yeah.
And then so when you came back in that last time, I imagine last time, you were just...
well, you can imagine, but it's not.
Carry on then, carry on.
I went back to Bob's.
Yep.
I was doing jobs in between there that were not me, and I was lasting 2 months, and I was like, this is just not me, you know. Moved out, like I was living out of home ever 17, and so I always had to try and
support yourself,
you know. But Centrelink at the time was the easiest, and then I was like, okay, no, I actually got to go and get a job. And doing that 2 months, no. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm living down the road from Bob's place.
Yep.
I'm going to go there again.
Yeah.
I went there. I don't think he remembered who I was. I don't even know if I ever mentioned it to him, to be honest.
Well, I'm sure him and Jaff, they're friends. They must have spoken.
Maybe, yeah. Probably. But Bob never knew my name from when I was 15, you know? Yep. So it was... I still try to remember if I've mentioned it to him. I don't even know. But I went back and I was like, again, here's my portfolio. And he's like, all right. You can start, like.
Nice.
So ever since then, I was working at Bob's and drawing, and you know, it was, you know, a lot of the repetitive A's and B's and C's, and then trying to like outline flash and try to make stencils and trying to draw, and it was like always having 2 drawings a week prepared and all that sort of, you
proper
know,
structure.
And. Man, the shop was like the full, every head to toe covered in flash, and wiping them every day, and like that was a good experience. But again, I got to a point where I was like, I don't feel at home. Like
this form of tattooing is not for you.
It was more, I started to listen to my heart than my head, and it was just like certain situation. Like it wasn't even certain situation. It was just people don't get along. I think I was 20 at the time, and I was like, I just can't, you know, do it. And it was, Bob has always been amazing, and it was kind of sad leaving. Yeah.
Well, like most shops, like, you know, we've had it here recently, and it's going to happen again.
It's people just... being people. Like,
and when you're young and in that environment, you've maybe not been around it long enough, it can be quite overwhelming.
Yeah, like I'm, you know, being a girl and...
Yeah, not many girls tattooing back then as well.
No, and being surrounded by people that... They can be unfuckable with if you want them, you know, if they want to. Like, it's... They know things that you don't know. They've done years of experience that you don't have up your belt, and you think you're 20 and you're like, nah, I know my shit. Man, I've got 25 and I'm like, I don't know who I am, you know. Like, it's
tattooing's always humbling.
It's very humbling, but I think it's made me into who I am. Like,
for sure,
certain situations that happened, you know, like there was one experience with you know, a couple of bikies came in, but there was nothing ever bad happened, but it was being that young and being like
your other friends aren't being exposed to that.
No, and I know others have gone through worse, but if it's my personal experience, it was a bit
wild.
shocking, but it learned.
Yeah, it's not all like on the movies or on the TV screen.
No.
You know.
That you have feelings and you have emotions and you have, you know. So, and then I left and it was again like, what am I going to do? And then I don't even remember what I was doing at the time. I think I was, don't even remember, but I was working at a cafe in Beenleigh. I found a place because...
my dad lives in Beenleigh.
And I'm not sure if there was a tattoo shop in Beenleigh.
A guy called Darren Clancy.
Yes. And there was another girl, Jess, or I'm not too...
Not familiar with Jess, but Darren Clancy's been there forever.
Yeah, and he was another old school tattoo artist. My boyfriend, he went there at the time. Like my boyfriend at the time, he went there. And he got a job, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a job at the cafe next door, and I would just go and hang out. It wasn't even going to see my boyfriend. It was I'm in the tattoo shop, watching him draw stencils, and he would have to draw him on the spot for Darren, and then I think my ex quit, and Darren was like, "Do you want a job?" Like
right place, right time.
Right time. Yeah, it was. Luckily for me, it was amazing because everyone that I met during my journey has always been very, very supportive or very helpful in a way. Like, it was never had, like, Struggle Street or, you know, it was just always people seemed to believe in me. Like, so, and I did that, and I was like, I can't do that to my boyfriend. I can't do it, you know? Like, it's a bit rude, blah, blah, blah. And... so then, this is the last time. This is my last go for an apprenticeship, which happened to get me where I am today.
Amazing.
So, again, my boyfriend at the time was working at a studio. I just loved tattoo. I always loved hanging out. So I was like, you know what? I'll come in. I'll draw with you. Like, I'll be there. Like, I was always after work, and I was like, oh, you can tattoo me. You can do this. So I got close with the people that work there, you know, like Sean Loco and Aaron Reed, and they were the people that got me into it, and I can always have love for them, like, but he quit. I think he quit. He quit, and then I was like, I can't do that to my boyfriend again, and I was like, you know what, though? I
can't do it to myself.
I was like, I want to go in, and I want to ask, like, I don't care. Like, what's the worst? Like, we
can only say no.
You know, like, I feel like you should. I think that's what I've learned is, if something's telling you to do it, just do it. Because you could put it off for someone, or you could put it on, you know, for anyone in your life, a friend, a partner. And then next minute you say no, and then the outcome that, what happens?
Totally. I have had a few things like that happen in my career, and one of them was, I think I was 18 and I went and got tattooed at, I was backyarding at that stage. Like, I'd finished with the guy that sort of taught me, or he sort of moved me on, and then I got offered a job at this shop, and I was like, I can't take it. So I went back and said, you should go and take this job because you're older than me, I respect you more, or whatever. And he went there and didn't take it, and then I didn't have the balls to go back and say, for me. And then you think sometimes where life may have gone.
That's it.
So with you, it was good. You went back and...
I guess, I did what at the time felt right. You know, it was just like, that's what my little heart is telling me to do. And sometimes it's better listening to that little thing than the thing in your mind.
Yeah. And I'm sure, I know from then, like, from what I know of you and your career, it's just gone from strength to strength to strength.
Yeah,
which is awesome, which shows all your dedication, all your hard work, taking those opportunities. It's good.
I guess it's hard to look at it that way because
Yeah, because we're self-critical.
Always self-analyzing, like, what can I do better? Oh, that tattoo, people would be like, oh, that's a really good tattoo. I'll be like, oh, no, this, this, that. And it's just, no one ever gives themselves enough credit to be like, I've had things and people helped me along the way. But really, like, you took the chances and you got it done. Yeah,
like, you did the work. No one's going to do the drawing for you.
Yeah, or the tattoo, or all the self-doubts, or the nights, or you just be like, I don't know if this is for me, like, and then you just, like I said to my friend, you just pick up your things and you start again the next day, and like.
So I imagine this is Loco Tattoo?
That was Loco Tattoo,
which predominantly, correct me if I'm wrong, predominantly killer black and grey artists.
That was black and grey. Like, at the time, I was drawing a lot of neo-traditional.
Yep.
I was like, I want to do colour, I want to do girls. I was doing a lot of watercolour. And then sort of Sean was like, look, the one thing that I can teach you is black and grey.
Yep.
You're not going to, he's like, if you want to do that, I can't teach you. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to, this is my third time.
Yep.
I'm not just going to let that slip by.
Yep.
So, I started doing black and grey and started developing into that. And I was there. I did my whole apprenticeship with them.
Yeah.
So
which is roughly how long?
It was about a year. It wasn't too long. Like,
progressed fast.
I progressed fast. Like, even me and my friends, like, we were looking at my photos. Like, from my friend was like, "When was your first tattoo?" And it was like 2000. Like, apart from the skunks, which is like we'll leave that. We'll start it from
from the real start.
I think it was like February 2016.
So what's that?
So
7 years?
Yeah.
7 and a bit?
Yeah, but I don't count COVID. Sometimes I don't count.
Let's make it 6.
Just so I'm like, I've only been tattooing for 6.
Amazing.
I'm only joking. It's about 7, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so about then, and then he's actually pointed out to me, he's like, well, when did you start, like, your work started progressing, and, just through the timeline on Facebook, it was maybe around 4 months I was doing proper big pieces, and
awesome.
Yeah, but oh my God, I go back through them now, and the nose is crooked and this and that.
Of course, but that's we all do that.
Yeah.
But that progression, but then. What I find interesting is, like, you're going on to bigger pieces so early, which is good. So a lot of people are daunted by it.
Yeah.
And they might not, have the stamina to do it or just the mindset. So you're just, like, attacking it gung-ho and going for it.
I guess that's, like, just pressure. Like, it's not a pressure, but it's, like, what else am I going to do? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't pack
taking the opportunity.
Yeah, and I also can't just put my shit down and be like, see you later, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
and but some people do. Some people will look for the escape route, and if they see a crack in the customer, they'll be like, oh yeah, let's finish it another time. And
true.
Not you or not me, but I've seen it happen quite a lot. And that's the difference. If you can push through, you get over those hurdles pretty quickly.
I guess that's like when you let self-doubt win, right? Like, when the voices are just like too much, and you're just like, but that's the thing I think also, like, learning now is that no one should ever be like afraid to ask for help. If like, you should never be afraid to be like, actually, I don't know what I'm doing.
This generation is now, I think, with the availability of contacting people, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, there's a lot more of an information exchange and self-education and all this stuff, and even studios. A lot of people aren't as, even in a studio, some people would be very territorial of, this is my style. It's not your style, mate.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and then, like, but it's still a beautiful industry, but there's always...
Yeah, it's always going to be...
back and forth, and I think that's why, for me, like, I don't really focus on all of that. Like, I love tattooing for what it's given to me. It's given everyone and everyone in the world, or everything in the world, a different view. People say it's like this, people say it's like that. And I think it's like, what really matters to you? It doesn't matter to what it matters to what you want to follow, just what it brings you joy, and what it, it's like we have the opportunity to create something and have it walking out on the street
Yeah.
or
Yep.
it's
a pretty special thing. Like it's some tattooers get it, some don't. You definitely do, and it's given you an amazing life, and there's still so much time ahead for you, which is mega. So all right, after Loco, where was next? Were you going to conventions around then?
No, I was just
zoning in on what you were doing.
Zoning in. Also, we say zoning, but there was I was just being a 20 to 21, tattooing, living at a home, having an apartment, like it was just, but I also had hard work, it wasn't, I had a roommate and all this stuff, but it was living life in its own ways, but the one of my best moments, I think, during my apprenticeship was trading a car for a back job.
Amazing.
That was my favorite.
I'm thinking maybe a SS Holden Ute or something.
No, you wish I was like, oh, it was a little Getz. It was just a little tiny.
Practical.
That thing lasted me for years.
Yeah.
Like it was. Yeah. It's seen some things. The whole side was crashed. And
what was the back piece? What was the image?
Oh my god! It was. It was bricks. And then I remember it was a Rolls Royce. And then it was just black. There was just, and then it was, do you remember The Town, the movie?
Yep.
Yeah, it was the classical, that everyone does. There was that mask.
Yeah.
And then I think there was some other things in the background. I don't know, but.
Crazy. Well, he'd obviously given you the gets and he was picking up the Rolls Royce after.
I don't even know if he had a car at the time.
Well, aspirate used to be like people that get the Harley Davidson badge, and then you go, oh yeah, what Harley have you got? Oh no, I don't. I'm saving up for one. You're like, all right, mate. Okay.
I'm pretty close. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, you should have maybe just got the T-shirt.
That's true. But that was one of my best. Yeah. There was so many good experiences. I think they're more personal for me, and just building the connection with everyone and.
Yeah. So Instagram, talking to other artists, or where was the next step from Loco?
The next step was actually where I met Mystik.
Nice.
Yeah, so...
How did that happen?
I was a little bit drunk one night, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to email to go and do a guest spot with Mystik.
Amazing.
I'm not afraid. I have no afraid right now.
Nothing wrong with some Dutch courage.
That's it, just, Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm going to type it. And I typed, I was like, I want to come for a guest spot. And it was soon after I actually got out of my apprenticeship.
Yep.
So, I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go up to Brisbane.
Yep.
Going to do my apprenticeship there. And I'm going to apprentice. At the time, Mystik, I didn't know too many artists. Like, I knew, Emily Rose. Like, it was... a lot of other ones from America, like I could name a few, but Mystik here was like, okay, there's a person here that has that name and that reputation, and
you can get some stuff from. And
I went there, and I didn't really want to leave.
Yep.
It was just one of those moments where it was like I know that I
found my new home.
Yeah, it was. I want to be here, and and. It ended so quick, and I had a couple of jobs because it wasn't too far. It wasn't like I'm going interstate. It was just an hour away. And then I was like, look, can I come back even for just another guest spot? Or maybe if I want to come back like once a week or like once a month.
Yeah, cool.
And he's like open arm. He's always been really open arms with everyone and has given me a lot of information. Like I always wonder if it wasn't for Mystik. And as he says, he's like, you've done a lot of the work, but he doesn't ever like to take the credit either.
He planted the seeds.
Yeah, he's always willing to help, and that was like okay. And it was sort of sad because that's when things ended with Sean and a little bit like that, but. It was time to move on and change.
It happens. As one thing I've learned over time as a shop owner is if someone's got a good opportunity and they want to go or they've got to go now, hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know? But sometimes it's like a breakup with studio owners. They feel that way of like, oh my God.
Yeah, and like
stuff.
at the time, like I was like, why would he feel it? And then I was like, okay, I can actually understand. You know, it was in my personal experience, he literally raised me from a little baby and tattooing to this girl who had bookings, who was, you know,
doing well.
Yeah, I was trying, and I think actually one of the conventions I did was the Sunshine Tattoo Convention before.
Yep.
I'm not sure what that was, but that's another. I'm sorry, my brain just went somewhere else. But and that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go up to Mystiks, and that's where I stayed for about 4.5. It was getting pretty close to the 5-year mark.
Yeah, cool. That's a good stint, and in then you obviously just continue to develop. Just because of that environment, were you then going out and doing conventions? Did you travel overseas in that point?
No, okay. I before probably this year I never really traveled overseas. It was when I started with Mystik. That's when the conventions started coming. The guest spotting, like coming down to Sydney for the first time, and what was it? It was going interstate conventions.
Yeah.
And because of his shop and his name, he would have a lot of people who would come through and guest spot themselves. So it was meeting a lot of artists that were at the time were just like
top notch,
mind blowing, you know, and that's how I guess I started to build a lot of the friendships and or just in generally not friendships, but just knowing people and. That gave me, I guess, a sense of inspiration and motivation without having to travel overseas. Yep. And then COVID happened. Yep. And then it was just like a standstill. And
Well, Queensland, you guys got hit. Did you move down here?
I actually should not complain because we didn't get that bad.
Yeah, but still, everything's relevant. Like even my old man goes to me and he's in Beenleigh. He's like, "Oh, COVID was fine." I'm like, "Of course it was, mate." Nothing changed for you.
Yeah, nothing happened. You know, it was like maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And you guys got it,
Yeah, I think obviously Melbourne won. We were second. We got second prize. So, yeah. Yeah.
It's all right. You didn't get first.
Yeah, exactly. I'll gladly take runner up.
Yeah.
So everything stood still and like what did things then just start to think, because I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, fuck, the world could be over. What's going on? What am I going to do? Bit of reevaluation.
Yeah, in hindsight, that I look back at it now, I can admit to myself and the things that I did wrong that I should have started. I shouldn't have wasted so much time. Sorry, I wasted a lot of time during COVID and. When I started, after COVID, I started kicking back into work. I was with someone else at the time and we split up. A lot of changes started to happen and a lot of self-changes and a lot of rediscovery and everything like that.
Yeah, so, amazing.
Yeah, that was I think that's when everything started kicking off and the travel bug came and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to America and then... Just, I don't know, just
get out and about. Because when did you come down to Sydney that first time? Was after COVID or in between?
When I tattooed, it was
between
COVID.
The two? Who even knows? That's a crazy thing.
There was still a lot of things going on. It wasn't that long ago,
but it's like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It did, but it didn't.
It did. And now it feels because we've gone back to regular programming, we're just like, you look back at the time and you're like, oh shit, that happened. You know, and...
Had you gone to America before you came to Sydney?
Well, no, apart from when I was little.
Okay, cool. No. All right, cool. So I know you came down here, you cruised around a few guest spots, back up that way, and then you're like, all right, I'm off.
Yeah, so, I went over there and
obviously... Killer black and grey style. It's got to me the gangsterish Chicano feel to it. It's fair to say.
Yeah, I love I went there and.
So I'm gonna go to ground zero.
Yeah, and seeing work that was done with a fine a single in prison.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was the most just perfect thing I've seen, and I was like, okay, that's done in jail.
Yeah.
Then I went to Deer's Eye and seen Chewy Quintana, and to me, I love his work. I love his style of tattooing, and I went there and seeing a piece that was 8 years old, single liner.
Yep.
Looked like it was done yesterday, and I was like, I gotta re-figure out my shit.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? You know,
Yeah.
like, not what am I doing wrong, but
I need to learn these new skills.
Yeah, and I feel like between now and then, there's been a lot of time figuring out what style do I actually want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like I love tattooing and I love realism, but everyone grows up, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you can have a style a year or two ago, and that's old you.
Yeah.
Now you're becoming someone else.
Yeah.
So it's like, who do I actually want to be? Like, what is me and what do I want to portray into tattooing? It's for me, it's been a battle that's been going on for years. It's trying to find that creative side
and your artistic voice.
Yeah, and stop trying to force things and realize that, because for so long back then, like, it felt like realism, a lot of people would be like, oh, you're just a realism artist.
Yeah.
So I started to value myself. It's like, I'm just a realism artist. I'm no one special.
Yeah.
So I dimmed my own light for a while.
Yeah.
And it's because of what other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I was like, hey, hold on. Like, before I was tattooing, I was an artist.
Yeah.
So why have I shushed that and have I tried and go on this route that didn't really meet with me?
Yeah.
And I think that's what traveling did.
Yeah. Talk to us about traveling. Where did you go in America?
I went to LA and New York.
Yeah.
I didn't really focus a lot of trying to get work or trying to be booked out. Or I wanted to go there and experience things.
Yeah, be a sponge.
Yeah. And just, I've never traveled, like, it was just like, I want to go enjoy myself, and I know that whatever happens is going to be more beautiful than what I can expect. Like, that's always my mentality. I'm like, don't put anything to it.
Yeah.
And it was the most, like, LA was just like being with Western Ave, Gunner, like, everyone there, like Sarita, like, everyone just felt like family instantly. And it felt like I was at home, and I was like, I don't want to leave, and every other shop was just, even just how differently they are ran than here. Yeah. They start tattooing at like 2 p.m. Yeah. And go on to like 2 a.m. Yeah. It was just getting chucked into all of that. Yeah. It's going, this is so different.
Yeah, a new set of rules. You can create your own way. Yeah. Which you're obviously well on the way to doing and have done.
Yeah, that was a big lesson, and then New York was just like, I did one tattoo for a friend that I met there, and New York was just an experience in itself. Yeah. And it was different, and it was just even the inspiration from seeing buildings covered in graff. Like, I didn't in Brisbane, you don't really experience that. Like.
Yeah, Australia in general is, Sydney and Melbourne, it's until you get other places, whether it be America or Europe, that you realise we're still such a young country. Not this in Brisbane, but Brisbane's essentially a big country town comparatively to the world scale of cities. The Gold Coast is a city of hotels on the water. Sydney and Melbourne are the two biggest ones we've got. But compared to other cities in the world, we're fuck all. That's and it puts it in perspective.
It really does. Like, and that was, I think, the biggest shock, was realizing that I confined myself into this town, into this what I knew, and you can read it in the books, you can do this, but when you just experience it, you're like, there's so much more to life than just what we know in Brisbane.
Yeah, and big city life, man. They've got energy. Yeah. It's got crazy energy. I'm not from Sydney, and I've been fortunate to live in a lot of big cities around the world, and I'm till the day I die, I'll be a city boy at heart, you know, and it's just got something special. And I think if you're not from the city you're spending time in, you maybe see things differently to the locals that grew up here.
Yeah.
Whether that be opportunity, perspective, who knows, but it's a different outlook. And, you know, like I grew up in Melbourne, I love Melbourne, but, you know, Sydney's my home as a later adult. And all that, it's good.
Yeah, but also with your traveling, like, I can, you know, like, you've told me a couple of stories and I look at that and I'm like, that to me is amazing. Like,
it's the best. I left a little boy and I came back a man. Yeah. You know.
It really, like, Shane, I only know a little bit and I can only imagine the experiences and the growing up and the things you've seen.
Yeah, but you got the travel bug now and it's hard. I did a podcast with Davey Blows about a month ago and he was saying, you know, COVID for him was the first time he's been still for a long time. And it took him quite a while to come to terms with it. Yeah. He's out and about now, but it's good.
It does give you just this feeling that it's just like, I don't care if I have to live from a suitcase.
Yeah, you're alive, we were talking about that before. When you're on the road, like, all your senses are on. Oh, it's... You know? Yeah. So someone walking up the street here that lives here is just going to be like that. Someone that's just jumped off the plane is going to be walking up the same street like they've taken LSD or they're on mushrooms. They're taking everything in.
Yeah, you know? I'm even how the sun's hitting the tree and I'm just like, oh wow, this is so different. Or, you know, even the people, and that's what...
Yep.
It felt like when I traveled, that's when my imagination kicked in.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? Like, after New York and LA... It was, and the tattooing, the experiencing of tattooing, different shops, different lifestyle, different foods, different, just different emotions, you know. It was awakening, and I came back, and I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I had to readjust, and I made some changes, and...
Yeah, you're in control of it.
Yeah, it was,
Since then, have you travelled again?
Yeah, well... Just came back from Europe.
Yeah, that's right. You went to Gods of Ink. I saw on Instagram with Mystik.
Yes, with Mystik. That was... Again, it was just mind-blowing. Yep. I didn't tattoo, I didn't do anything, but I kept saying to everyone, it's seeing it in your phone for years. Yeah. And then really submerging yourself into it and realizing that some artists from overseas and even some here, they can literally be art masters.
Yep.
Like,
100%.
The work and the way the body suits, that was another, like... Yeah. It was in a way a kick to the face, because it was like, okay.
But also, I would imagine, just so inspiring
It was the most...
Like, I've been to the London convention when it was still running, I think, like 5 times over the years, and I'd never worked there and never even wanted to, because I'd always get more out of just being there, cruising around, talking to people, get behind a booth, see what's going on, partying at night, meeting people. It's like, oh, this is it.
Yeah,
you know?
See, it was like that, but for me it was, I don't party a lot, so I was very like home, you know.
Yeah,
and,
good.
But the lessons, going behind meeting and just knowing that like people would actually give you advice. Yeah. There was no hesitation on like being like, oh no, you can't know.
Yeah, I'm giving you my secret sauce recipe.
Yeah, all the artists like, you know, Jose Lopez, Carlos Torres. Like, I'm not name dropping. It was literally me going up to them and trying to start a conversation, because it's like, I'm here. They're in front of me. I can either continue being a bitch.
It's an opportunity that maybe not come around again for another year or two.
Yeah, and it's whether, you know, I don't care if they follow me. I don't care if that. It's just more, I want to introduce myself. So when I go into the shop, they can go, oh, that's that girl. Like, you know, try and remember and know that I made, that's all and it's not even for them. It's more for me knowing
I get it. I love
that I made the effort, you know, and it was a lot of that. And at one point I got so tired that I was like, I need to go home and have a nap. I was like, this is too stimulating and like ovary sense it, like, it's just, it was it was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to tell, like, stories. People, like, tell us stories, and it's like, they're not going to hit the same way they felt for me. Like,
exactly, it's personal.
Like, goosebumps or, like, things like that. It was just... Yeah. And then, it's just seeing people and seeing the quality of work. Yeah, the melting pot. And again, you know, we got phenomenal artists here, but I think as well it's just the population. So you're just seeing so much good stuff, and everyone is coming in there for this convention from all over. It's the best of the best. It really was. And to even just be there, like, everyone's like, are you tattooing? And then I'm like, I don't really care if I'm tattooing or not. You know, I think there's something else. I don't always have to put myself between four walls. This is my first time. This is my, you know, I can learn something else from it than just sitting by myself with my client doing the same shit I do at home, you know? So that was really
powerful stuff. I can see it, and I get it. Like, you know, moments in my career, how do you put it into words to someone, even another tattooer or a close friend or your mum or your dad? They're not going to get it.
No.
It's just those special moments in life where it's just the best. And that's, you know, that's tattooing in general as well a lot, because, you know, something will click in doing a drawing, whether it's on your iPad, on the skin, and you go, oh yeah, that's where that came from. And that's that little 1% you've stepped up a gear. And then the other ones come in, and you know, you look back and it's like, wow, there's that influence.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think it's also that it literally, like, sorry, feel like I keep cutting you off.
No, I'm doing the same. You're on a roll, sis. It's amazing.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm actually so excited that I was like, maybe I'm talking too fast.
No, you keep rolling. It's good.
But what's it called? Yeah, it was a lot of inspiration, but I think a lot of realization of going, I'm doing mistakes. You know, and instead of trying to be like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing? It was realizing the things I was doing wrong as a person, as an artist, as the mental talk and prep to myself. Like, actually, that's not too bad, but just realizing and going, okay, I got to change some shit if I ever want things to happen. Yeah,
it's instead of beating yourself up, you know, their lessons is not... It's an opportunity to learn and refocus and expand and go.
Yeah, and that was exactly it. That's why, like, even a lot of people might see a certain side, but there was a lot of sides going, like, who am I as a person? Or, like, you know, like, maybe even when I would talk to artists and it felt like I was, like, you know, getting in my own head and be like, oh, like, am I saying something? And then it's just like, no, just let it go. You're just you. If you click with people, you click with people. If you don't, you don't. Or
you don't have to be everyone's best friend.
That's it, you know? And that was a lot of realization, or just going, what can I do better as a tattoo artist? Because obviously what I'm doing, I don't feel like it's improving. You know? And a lot of people may be like, oh, you're doing great. But to me personally,
there's
I'm
more.
like...
You want more.
Yeah, I'm like, what can I do more with this? And... accepting that and working through them. Now it's like I feel more inspired because I'm not putting blockages, or I'm going, okay, like, this is the way I can do it now and try something different instead of getting stuck in the same old comfortable ways that weren't working.
I relate 100%. Like, me now, and I'm pretty set in my career. Like, I've had a good career, but, you know, I'm over the halfway mark and I've still got more to go, and I feel I got more to give. And, you know, I'll talk to some of my mentors, like Trevor McStay's one, and around the same age as he was, as I am now. He sort of revitalised his career. So he's given me some advice on what to do. And a couple of things I'm doing is just like, probably my technical ability isn't going to change much. You know, so my real main focus is back on the artwork, and it's drawing, and I'm old school. I'm still doing it. I'm trying to do more iPad. I do a lot of layering, tracing paper over and over, because that's the way my brain works, and I've been conditioned. But by doing that and going back to it, I can see the improvements, and then you get that little like, oh yes,
It's a little kick, yeah.
If I draw this one more time, it could be 2-3% better.
Yeah.
I've got to draw it that extra time.
Yeah.
And then I've got to paint it. I've got to, do stuff. And I know sometimes you don't want to do it because it's not boring, but it's like you don't always want to go to the gym or you don't always want to do this. But what I've realised in my life now is I'm going to get more out of doing the things I don't want to do than taking it easy.
Yeah.
And, I don't always want to redraw it, but...
You just got it, yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, imagine I do it more and more and it's going to keep going and it's fun.
It is so much. I think it's also activating the brain. It's given us a chance to do, I guess, something different, It's where we've been tattooing for so long and then you're just like, I'm tattooing and you sort of just get lost in it. But when you have a realization or you hear someone else, that's the thing. It was like, there's so much inspiration from everyone around us. And it's whether you want to ask questions or you don't, or, if you can always learn something from someone. And then I think I had to let my ego go. I'll be like, no, actually... And not that I'm saying I've ever been stuck up or anything. It's just more people going...
It's human nature.
Yeah, it's like I don't know everything, you know. This person could teach me something and it's allowing that, then it starts that whole, I want to paint, I should redo it. And the more you do it, the more you feel a certain way that it excites you and before you know it.
All right, so... I did have the bunny up there.
Oh, you did?
I don't know where it went.
It just disappeared.
Fuck. Somewhere. So, when you were doing that blue ballpoint pen, Playboy Bunny style, Starzilla, that was only a couple of years ago. Where's your stuff translated to since then?
Well, I definitely stopped doing ballpoint because I was just, I think I was either doing it on too much, tough paper, but, with that style, like it is more artistic wise. I feel like I'm trying to enter a different mindset, like for my artwork, is not trying to paint so much tattoo things because I want to learn how to tattoo design to me is different to a painting. I just want to have a painting where I can just create and have fun. And try and play with colours and get away from the black and grey. And
see where it goes.
Yeah.
It's still going to benefit your tattooing.
That's it. And between now and then, there's been a lot of, non-finished work. Because I'm always starting it and then I'm like, no, that's shit. It's not me. Or I leave it for too long. Because I get distracted by the things that I don't need to do. Because somehow my brain's always like, I'll just put that off. But it's the most important thing that I should be doing towards, It's what makes me happy and it's what is my passion. So now I'm having the mentality of, I seen it in, when I went to Berlin in a shop, Theo's shop. He's like a he's like a master penmanship, I'm not sure. But he did this one and it was like, done is better than perfect. Is that? Yeah. Because that was my problem. It was always trying to start for perfection instead of just finishing it. And then I was like, okay, I need to just buckle down and I can't leave things for too long. So it's, now I'm trying to do a painting and it's like more on the abstracty side and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun. And that's all that matters.
It'll go somewhere and it'll teach you something. I think I was maybe about 20 years in tattooing and a guy goes to me, another tattooer, he goes, why are you trying to draw everything perfect from the start? And I was like, I don't know. I actually don't know. Because no one had ever taken a moment to analyse that or ask me why. Then he showed me how to draw looser. And I'm like, why didn't someone tell me this years ago? And then that was a little bit of a change of direction for me. Yeah. So it's good.
Crazy how you can just take the one thing and it can just flip everything around, and it's like...
Where is on the travel horizon now?
Travel horizon, oh God, I don't even know.
Because you're off again soon?
Yes, I'm off again. So I'll go back to America.
Yep.
I loved LA. I'm gonna do a little bit longer at Deer's Eye and then the Vatican Studio and also Western Ave.
Amazing.
Go back with them and just enjoy. And then now try and do a little bit more tattooing in New York as well.
Yep.
But I think it sparks something different just traveling, and I feel like the inspiration isn't done yet.
No way, it won't be. You got years, you got so much ahead of you.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, sometimes, like, my ultimate life, well, one of my ultimate lives, I've lived many, was like, you know, I'd do 6 months in London, I'd do 6 months in Thailand on an island called Koh Samui. Then later it'd just be, I'd travel, I'd go away. Like, the year before COVID was great for me. I was away 14 times. I'd go just somewhere for a week, come back, get inspired, let it all sink in, try and put it into my week, go again, come back, go again, come back. So you can create, especially with your following here in Australia, and I imagine you're going to build a bigger following over there, and everything's worldwide now, Instagram, whatever. Yeah. You're good to go. So you can create your own reality, your own dream life.
It's your movie, make it a good one.
Totally, yeah. It's, you know, you're doing the editor's cut, you know.
I think that's what it made me realize. It was just like everything that I was doing was so I don't want to settle down just yet. I'm not in that space, you know, and I just feel like there's something beyond tattooing. Yep. Where tattooing's still going to be my main passion, but there's something beyond it that if I stay here and I keep doing the same thing, that's what life feels like when I come here. It's just go to work, do the same thing, you know, but when it's over there, it's like, no, this is what there's
more opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, who knows, like, you know, like Mr. Cartoon, for example, right? Cartoon has broken the mold of black and grey tattooers back in the day, you know, doing everything he does is... Yeah. I don't have enough fingers to list the amount of creative things he's done, right? But he's sort of one of the OGs that set the standard for the new breed. Like, and it can be anything now. Like, it can be, you know, you look at Dr. Wu, what he's doing. You look at Scott Campbell, all these other people, then they're over that side of the world. New York or LA is where it happens. Generally in Australia, it's going to happen probably Sydney or Melbourne, you know, but there's way more possibilities over there. There's way more money, there's way more connections, there's just, it's there.
Yeah, and I think it's more, even the style of tattooing is more... Yeah. It inspires, you know, I look at it and I'm like, man, like, that's just what I want to, you know, like, it's what I want to do. And then sometimes here people might not allow, but it's also, again, it could be me. I could be designing more and I could be doing more, you know, where I'm in the process, you know, but there's always something that I could do, but there's feelings of it going, okay, like, it's just, there's more of the stuff that I want to do, and I know that I was over there and surrounded by it. Yeah. It would motivate me to do it more of it. Like,
that's what you've got to do. You've got to feed what motivates you.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, it's just, it feels scary.
What's wrong with that is not feeding it.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got the opportunity to do it. Like, there's so many other people that have this desire, but even outside of tattooing, but they could be in a relationship, have families, have mortgages, not be financially capable of doing it. So a weird mindset I've got is, and I've had over the years, is if you can do it, you should, this is going to sound wanky, you should do it for the people that can't, because they would kill to have the opportunity you have right now. So don't waste it.
That's the thing, and I think that's another thing, is just being grateful, really. Yeah. Like, it's really realizing that it's like, okay, like, I'm doing something that no one has, some people would dream of, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what can I do next, blah, 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 and it's like, Starzy, just come down and focus that life is pretty sweet, even if you have those bad times and those bad days. And you know, I've also have sacrificed a lot, you know. I'm pretty much don't have a place to call home right now. Like, I don't, it's going, you know, like, I'm selling my car and I'm doing this, and it's just like, you got to make things to make it happen, you know.
For sure.
And there's still moments where I'm like, no, maybe I won't go. Oh, no, like, you know, and then I'm like, just go. Like, just, what's the worst that can happen? And then, like, you always have
come back.
people. Yeah. Or there's also realizing that there's a lot of supportive people out there.
Yep.
Especially the people that I've met along the way that have been just supportive, you know, like come stay with me, or you always have a place, or so it's really also being thankful for them, because if it wasn't for them, it would never.
And I would say you're inspiring them as well. And when you get into this sort of energy exchange or frequency of whatever you're on, and these people, you know, everyone's getting as much out of each other as we all are. And that's when you're onto something special. Yeah,
I like to think it's made, like, you know, I like to think that I can inspire people because people inspire me, you know. Yeah. There's a lot that you can get inspired from.
Yep.
Even just sometimes you notice and you can really, sounds going to be weird, but walk the way of reality, you know, like you focus on one thing, you get one thing, you focus on another one, and you could start realizing like how a dog walks and the personality within that, or two people at a park bench, you know, or there's
observation.
Yeah. And I think it's always been observant. It's just, you know, and realizing, okay, like even building burning down.
Oh, amazing. Standing on, as soon as that building was on fire, I went straight down. Yeah. And like I was on the street, I got so many mad photos, stood there, the heat, people are walking back from the street because it's so hot. I'm like, no man, this is it. Like the energy, like horrible, because it's the owner of that building owns this building. Like it's a horrible thing to happen to them. Yeah. But it's an amazing experience to see. Like I hope I never see another building on fire again. But fuck, it was powerful.
It makes a story, right? It makes it
powerful. And then I went and sat in a pub and watched it from over the road, and you put your hand on the glass window and you're like, man, this is hot. Oh, maybe this is gonna fucking crack or blow soon.
I didn't even think of that.
The car's on fire, but awesome. You know, like life experience.
It is, and it's life's just, I feel like throwing little things at you sometimes, and
you know, out there on the street, the craziness of the people is like London or Tokyo or New York or somewhere. That's the normal day of people on the street, and it has an energy.
It does.
You know, when you tap into it, it's the best.
I think that's why I loved New York so much. Yep. It was, you could just walk the street, like even going in the subways.
Yeah.
And there'd be people, you know, busking or playing music, or just even people with like big ass speakers just not giving a shit about
living their best life on the street corner.
Yeah, just not giving a shit about what people think. You know, and even when could you catch a train here and someone's blurring music? You know, like it's
like it took
probably,
me,
but
it took me, I think, till my 30s, early 30s, to actually be proper comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
And not care. Still care, but not too much. Like, this is me, you know. And I think as a human, the earlier you can get to that point, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, that's it. I think that was also a problem. Like, I guess it's like you may have been going through what I've been going through now. It's like really realizing, like, who am I? Like, it's, you know, what do I actually want out of my life? And what can I let go of the things that don't longer serve me, that I really don't need, that I've carried on for so long, and bring in the things that are actually aligned for you, you know? Like, it's... And I guess, I don't know if I've watched too many videos.
No, not at all,
like,
man.
that's
not
just the
all.
way of that I feel like life is, you know. It's
for sure. And, you know, like, back to COVID, like, even though it was so shit, we got a lot of things to thank it for.
Yeah.
Some people, you could take it multiple ways, but, you know, there's winners and losers in love and war and all the rest of it, you know, and COVID, prime example of it. So, all right, so you've got a mad tattoo collection. You've like pretty much got a crazy Japanese bodysuit or close to it.
It's pretty much like one arm and my back.
So you got your back done by Sam at Mystik.
Hilco, yes. He's the best. He did my arm. Like if I could go back, he would be one of the ones that I would get a whole bodysuit from. And I've lasered off some work, and I've got some work blacked out. Like I got tattooed when I was so young that now, you know, and you did a piece on my arm, so that sort of matches with the back. But yeah, apart from collection, I got a beautiful thigh done by myself as an apprentice.
Amazing.
Yeah, but my arm and my back is just...
Yeah. Who's on your hit list for whatever skin's left?
Whatever skin's left. So Cole Dawson at the bottom.
Amazing.
Hopefully. I messaged him so long ago and I was like, oh, you want you to laser this? I got to laser this. And he's like, I was like, come book in.
Well, Cole's going to go to a whole new... He's already going to new levels, but he's been getting his back done in Japan. And it's a...
See, I couldn't do that.
Never-ending, like, evolution, you know. Cole's one of the ones, like, you know, he's been redoing a lot of my stuff. We've worked together for a long time. Yeah. And he's one of the guys that, you know, I believe is really going to push modern traditional Japanese tattooing to a whole new level.
Yeah, it's insane. The smoothness, the boldness, everything about that work. So hopefully that's on the horizon.
Yep.
And apart from that, I don't really have too much space left unless I get more lasered.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
I've thought about my stomach as well, getting that lasered and talking to Demi, but I don't, from Rosie's, but I still haven't committed to that.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell.
But yeah, apart from that, there's not much elsewhere.
After this next trip overseas, so when you're in Sydney, you're based out of Blake's new studio, Golden Tusk.
Yes.
How's all that treating you? Good?
It's good. It's like a little homely, friendly environment. Like it's a nice space. It's you know, sunlight comes through.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good when it's home. You know, it's just nice to be in a quiet spot. And yeah. It's a good, and they're good to work with. Yeah. Like they're just, you know, sometimes we talk shit, sometimes we knuckle down and do our work.
But you know, Blake, Nibbles, good young guys like powerhouses. Yeah. Doing their thing.
That's it. And it's just good to be in a shop and do your own thing and but I don't, and then go away soon, travel.
Come back, go away again.
No, I'll come back. I'm going to come back and then there's like another tattoo. There's a couple of tattoo conventions that I'm going to do. Yeah. Hopefully go back to New Zealand as well. Yep. And then who knows what happens from there.
Best way.
Yeah.
Best way. Mate, it's been amazing. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Like always, I haven't seen you for quite a while, but it's like time stood still. And, you know, from the first time I met you, I've had a lot of respect for you. It's great to see what you're doing tattoo-wise. And as an old traveller myself, I love it. Well, it so makes me start to go, how can I get out again? Yeah. How can I go and do more and more and more? So,
yeah, there's always more that we can do. Yeah. It's also to keep your soul and your heart happy. Yeah. You know, because the way I look at it is we are creative people. That's what we were given the gift to do. So why are we going to keep delaying time or why, you know? And I think as a creative person, you're always searching for something, you know, not always searching for something, but there's always something on the more lookout. You can do, or there's
eyes are peeled.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly it.
So to wrap it all up, what's the best way for someone to contact you, through Instagram or website, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so at the moment I don't have any website apart from my big cartel, but it's pretty much just Instagram, email. So it's just starsytattoos@gmail.com. That's probably the best way at the moment, just to get in contact. Cool. Yeah, and get some work
and
done.
Obviously keep an eye for your travel dates on your Insta, all that stuff.
Yes, all that stuff. Yeah, so who knows? Hopefully I get some work. Hopefully I don't in America. But I have high hopes. I have high hopes.
You will. Any shout outs, any thanks? I know you've already dropped big ones on Mystik. He's seems to be like a very strong guiding force for you.
Yeah. He's like a big brother. Yeah. But everyone else would just really be like my friends. They're like, you know, Jess and Marty at the moment. Like it's even Blake and everyone just that is. It's hard to just give one specific because it's just,
there's too many.
You know, there's too many. It's everyone in my life that even if sometimes I probably should say it more, but it's just if it wasn't for everyone else, like they're part of the journey and they're, you know, it's everyone involved.
I asked Davey that question. He goes, man, there's just too many.
Yeah. Pretty much would be like, I want to take the Lord.
Yeah. Well, our saviour.
Yeah, pretty much.
So.
No, but that, just everyone in my life at the moment. Yeah. big or small, even my clients, you know. But
yeah, well, without them, you know, they're the
What can we
ones that
do?
they're the ones that make our dreams come true.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, love you. Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you so much, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll have to do it again in a couple of years' time when
see where I'm
life's
at now.
gone on. Hopefully, I'll still be around.
Yeah, oh, you will be. You
Yeah,
got
I
too
know.
much of a young soul not
Yeah,
to be
I know. So, nah, all good. Well, hopefully when you leave, because I know you got a dinner to go to, hopefully the streets are open. The building hasn't fallen down yet. And
Oh, hopefully
you
not. We
can,
would have
like-
heard it for sure from here.
yeah, it would have been. There was like a bell ringing a lot, but anyway. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome.